Hello, everybody. This is a video for Project Lead the Way IED Activity 1.2.5 Sketches, Extrusions, and Revolutions. Oh my. So we are going to learn a few new commands here in Fusion, specifically the revolution being a big one, as well as a few other tips and tricks as we take on a little more complexity with some of these parts. So again, PLTW IED Activity 1.2.5, there are three objects or examples in total, items that we're going to be modeling. We're going to create two drawings off of that, and this video is for the first object. Again, three objects in total. This is for object number one, or example number one, for activity 1.2.5. Let's go ahead and get started here. One trick I'm going to show you right off the bat is if you want to do this in the future, if there's ever a picture that you are modeling after or need to reference, often, one thing you can do is actually insert that picture within your drawing space here. So I have a model that I have not saved yet. I don't know why I minimized my data panel there. I'm going to bring that back, and we're going to go ahead and save this drawing. I'm putting it in a folder labeled 1.2.5, Sketches, Extrusions, and Revolutions. I'm going to call this Example 1. Example 1. Go ahead and click Save so we have our work ready to go. And I'm going to insert a picture that I can use to reference. That's going to make drawing a little easier. So I'm going to go to Insert over here on the top right, and I'm going to go down to Canvas. And when you do that, it's going to ask you if there's any pictures you want to insert. I'm going to go to Insert from my computer. I'm going to pull down this reference, or double click on that reference drawing there. It's a picture that I took off of our Canvas page, and I need to choose a plane to place that picture on. I'm going to choose a plane that I'm probably going to start working in to model this. I'm going to use the XY plane over here. I'm going to go ahead and place that picture, and I can kind of drag this around a little bit to determine where specifically I want this picture to go. I'm just going to pull it off to the side so it's not too far out of the way, but still easy reference. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I know it's tough to see. I'm going to go to my front view here. But if I zoom in from my front view, you'll see that I have a picture that's just kind of floating in space. There's nothing I'll do to extrude this or anything like that. It's not an object that I can actually manipulate. I'm just using it for reference there. It's a drawing that I can refer to. Now, one thing you'll notice, let me go back to that front view so you can take a quicker look. Notice that all of these dimensions are in millimeters. So we're going to need to change a setting here for this drawing. That's something I want to really reiterate so that you don't get too far ahead of yourself. We need to change our units for this model in particular to millimeters. It's not going to be our default, but we need to change it for this one. So let's go ahead and do that underneath Document Settings. We're going to go ahead and hit this this flyout here, this little arrow, and we're going to change our units here. We're going to hit that Edit button. I'm going to change the units from inches to millimeters. I'm not going to check Set as default. I do not want this to be my default. I just want this to occur for this drawing, and then it'll go back to inches whenever we start our next drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. We are now modeling in millimeters. I've got my reference drawing here, and this is the object that we're going to try to model. Now, if you look here in the front view, you can see, we've got a couple kind of unique things going on. This is specifically called a fillet. This is called a chamfer down here, and those are two commands we're actually going to learn. But first, we're going to work on these two features, if you will, or components of this body. We've got this large kind of barrel section. It's a round section here, and then this shaft that's protruding up here on top. So we're going to first take care of this barrel, and we're going to use a revolution for that. It's a new command we're going to learn. So let's go ahead and first I'm going to go to my isometric just so you can kind of get used to where we're starting from. I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Sketch, and I'm going to select the XY plane. Same plane that I've got my drawing in here. Now, the barrel that we're going to be modeling is got some dimensions here. It is 30 millimeters tall by a diameter of 40 millimeters. We see that right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle, and you're going to maybe be a little confused here for a second. But the dimensions I'm going to put on this, I'm going to go ahead and use that 30 millimeter height. Type 30. Dimension there, constraint, so I'm constraining this. I've got 30 millimeters in height, but I'm going to go ahead and make the length or the width here, instead of the full 40, because I'm drawing a rectangle, I'm actually going to do this 20, which is like the radius. I'm going to make a constraint of 20, and I'm going to finish sketch as a rectangle. Now this looks a little weird because I know that we're supposed to be drawing a round object, but what we're going to do with this rectangle that is 30 millimeters tall by 20 millimeters, which is our radius, is we're going to revolve this. We're going to use a revolution command. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my home to look at this in isometric, and I'm going to use this command right next to extrude is a command called revolve. I'm going to go ahead and use that. It's automatically going to select my profile because there's only one profile that's there. It's going to go ahead and select that for me, but I do need to choose an axis. See, I got a profile and it already says it's something selected, but then I've got an axis. I need to choose what axis to revolve this around. I'm going to choose, let's go ahead and hit that button to select. Let's go ahead and do that now. There we go. And I'm going to choose this line on our rectangle. I just left clicked on that and it selected that, and notice that I can change the angle. I can go partial, we can do two object, or we can do a full revolution. Under partial, it'll allow me to change the degrees. So if I only wanted half of this, I could do 180, and you would see that it would just give me a little half cylinder. In this case, we're going to go ahead and do 360, oops, typo there, 360 degrees for a full revolution, and hit OK. So we've got this barrel portion here. We'll work on some other details for that in a second. Now I'm going to go back to my front view, kind of just double check my sketch here. I've got the barrel portion. Now I need to work on this shaft that's on the upper end. It is 15 millimeters tall. It looks to be 10 by 10. So I'm going to go ahead and move back to my isometric and create a new sketch now. Now that I've got the round base feature, I'm going to go ahead and sketch on this top surface. I'm going to draw a rectangle. No revolution this time. We're just going to draw a simple rectangle. We're going to put some constraints on here. I believe this was, again, 10 by 10, placing two constraints there, left and right. Still blue. I haven't fully constrained it yet because it's not black, so I need to put some location constraints in here. I'm going to put in a dimension of 5 for that, and a dimension for 5 vertically. That's going to go ahead and center this within our base. It is fully constrained now. Let's go ahead and finish sketch. Move over to our isometric view using our view cube, and we're going to extrude. Got to choose my profile here. I use the extrusion command. I'm going to select that inner profile, that square that we just drew, and we need to extrude this up a distance of 15. Use my reference there. 15 millimeters is what we're going to bring that up. All right, we are looking good now. We just have to add in a few new features. We've got to do this, what's called a fillet, as well as a chamfer, and then we will be done with this object, this example. So let's go ahead and do the fillet first. Fillet is right here. It's underneath your utilities, or I'm sorry, under modify. The fillet's one of your defaults here. You see this little rounded edge, and if you hover your mouse over there, it'll give you a good description. We're going to go ahead and enter that command, and we got to choose some edges that we want to add a fillet to. So I'm going to use my mouse, and I'm going to select these edges here. I'm going to do all 4 edges, every side of this shaft. So I've got 2. I'm going to use my view cube. I'm going to hit this corner here to rotate around. Select that one. I'm going to hit this corner up here to rotate around again. I'm going to select that one. I've got now 4 edges. Says right here, 4 edges, but I need to give it a radius to actually perform that fillet. And looking at my drawing now, it's flipped around backwards, so it's going to look a little weird, but I see a radius of 5 there, R5. So I'm going to do a radius of 5 millimeters. Go ahead and hit OK, and you will see that it has added a curved fillet, kind of rounds out that edge of the shaft. These are really important and kind of useful in common design. I'm going to go back to my isometric here and flip that around. Fillets and chamfers are both really nice because it allows it to kind of round or soften the edges so you don't have such sharp protrusions. In real life, you'd use objects. If you didn't want to scrape or cut something, using a fillet or a chamfer, like the edges of your countertop, for example, I guarantee you that's going to be either rounded or it's going to have a chamfer on there. That's a fillet or a chamfer. And it's just to create a smoother edge so it's not as abrasive to, let's say, banging your leg on the side of it or scraping your clothing or something like that. All right, so the last thing we need is our chamfer. We've got the fillet up here. We need to throw a chamfer on the bottom. That is also underneath modify. I'm going to hit the drop down menu because I don't see it here up in my ribbon, and there it is right there underneath fillet. We've got a chamfer, so we're going to go ahead and select that. I need to choose what edge we're going to use a chamfer to. I'm going to, as I move my cursor over, I'm going to hover over that circle on the base of my barrel here, and I'm going to left click on that. And I've got a few different types of chamfers. I got an equal distance here. I've got 2 distances or a distance in an angle. And if I'm going to zoom in real quick on our reference drawing here, notice that we were given a distance and an angle. 30 degrees is our angle, a distance of 5. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that option, distance and angle. And I'm going to go ahead and set my distance here for 5 millimeters. And I'm going to set my angle at 30 degrees. Go ahead and hit OK. Let's double check this by looking at it from our front view. You'll see that now we have these curved edges here for the fillet. And here's the chamfer, this little angled cut that we made on the bottom. And this, my friends, looks like our reference here in isometric. Sure enough, looks just like what we have here in our reference image. This model is good to go. I do have my canvas still there, and it's not going to harm anything by sitting around. But just to clean this up, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that canvas by, in my browser, going under canvases. I'm going to hit this flyout, right-click, and then hit delete, because I no longer need that anymore. Just double-checking. I'm going to go back to my front view, make sure my chamfer's still there. Yeah, we're all good. So we'll go ahead and hit save. And we have now finished our model for example 1 in activity 1.2.5 in PLTW IED. We will be creating another video on how to create a dimension drawing off of this, and then we'll tackle the next objects. Thanks so much. Have a great day.